Thank you, MC. Toastmasters. I'd like to ask you all a question. If you were to get an absurd text on your cell phone from somebody who is claiming that they're a United States citizen and they are stuck overseas in Nigeria and they're in jail and they need $60,000 wired to them right now via Western Union, what would you do? The correct thing to do would be step one, what I imagine most of us would do. Block the sender. Beyond that, the correct thing to do would also be to report the sender to the local authorities, the Federal Trade Commission, or your state's attorney, because this is a scam and it's a crime. Unfortunately, 20,000 Americans last year did not do that. 20,000 Americans sent that $60,000 no problem. According to the Federal Trade Commission's article published on February 12th of this year, a couple days before Valentine's Day, 20,000 Americans fell for what's called a romance scam. Usually in my past speeches when I talk about scams, I'm usually joking about how I irritate them. But this scam is not a joke. It's very serious. Even somebody like myself would not take time out of my day to deal with them because the risks are just too high. Romance scams. Romance scammers are scammers that lurk on social media sites and particularly dating platforms. They set up online profiles with a picture of a good-looking guy or girl, depending on which gender they want to appeal to or sexuality. And they message the victim with a Valentine's Day poem that sounds really nice, ooey gooey, I love you, cupids and flowers. The victim falls in love instantly, and this is where the trap is sprung. The scammer will constantly ask the victim to wire them money via Western Union, and the victim doesn't know it, but what's really going on is that they're getting caught in a money laundering scheme. And if the scammer isn't called out on it soon enough, the authorities knock on the victim's door. Because the scammer is untraceable. Because all the details online are fake. So today, for those of you who you yourself or any of your loved ones use online dating profiles, here are 3 warning signs that the person on the other side of the monitor is not who they say they are. Warning sign number 1. They use improper grammar when talking to you. I'm not talking millennial texting like before dictionaries for online dictionary was a thing. Millennials used to text LOL for laughing out loud, raffle for rolling on the floor laughing. But the improper grammar I'm talking about is not acronyms. The scammer will send a message such as, how are ? I am ! Makes absolutely no sense. Even if you call them out on it, they keep it up. Why? Because the scammer's on the other side of the world and does not know proper English, usually most of the time. So if the person on the other side of the monitor is not using proper grammar and the mistakes are really ridiculous, that's a red flag. Warning sign number 2. All their details, their stories, their profile bio, everything is inconsistent. It doesn't make sense. Their profile will say, I live in New York City, and I love going jogging outside in a t-shirt and gym shorts in December. They'll say, I live in Nashville, and every July I love to go skiing. Yeah, right, skiing in July in Nashville. What are you skiing on? You're not skiing on anything. You're a fraudster and you're trying to steal my money. Warning sign number 3. This is the kicker. This is where sometimes it can be too late. You become an ATM machine. Now they've wooed you and they're giving you inconsistent stories to get you to send them money. Yesterday, they were held hostage by some terrorist group, and they needed $60,000 right away or else their head was going to get chopped off. The next day, they're arrested in some foreign country and they need an additional $100,000. The day after that, they bought a plane ticket to the US, but they're in New Orleans, Louisiana, and they need an additional $1,000 to reach you in Nashville. Spoiler alert, they're not coming. They're not coming. So, if any of these warning signs sound familiar to yourself, batten down the hatches. I think there's a saying here in the South. Is it get her done? I think that's the saying. Batten down the hatches. Stop all communication. Don't try to confront the scammer because then they'll come up with another inconsistent story to woo you and get you. Instead, cut off communication and report the scammer to the Federal Trade Commission. If every American were to do that in this country, the romance scam industry would be shut down tomorrow.